Welcome back. Now, Lilapa AI has launched products called Vulavula. Well, this app focusing on underrepresented languages will enable clients to connect with their customers in their own languages within their own context. Well, the team hopes to make a change in the country using artificial intelligence to improve sectors such as agriculture, education, healthcare and energy. Now, to share more on the applications, we're joined by CEO of Lilapa AI, Pelonomi Moiloa, as well as Jade Abbott. She is the Chief Operations Officer. Ladies, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live. Let me start with you, Pelonomi. I mean, what is this app that we're talking about? First, let's give it background.
Yeah, I think, and thank you for having us on the show, firstly, Lulu. I suppose using the word app is useful to the public to help understand how it works, but really what it is it's an underlying technology that helps to support other technologies.
Okay.
So at the moment, it is what we call a model, which is a mathematical representation of how to understand language. And we use that behind other tools like a chatbot for a banking app or your WhatsApp engagements for other types of tools. We use that as an underlying technology so that people are able to interact in their own language.
Speak to us about how it's helped the industry since you've established it.
So we're still in the process of actually getting it out to industry partners at this point, so very, very early stages. But the movement towards what we're aiming to support is areas around healthcare, so people can receive healthcare in their own language, being able to provide support to people in the education sector for similar reasons. And particularly in this digital space, since the COVID years, a lot of operations have moved from the real world to being digital, and we've seen, we're able to scale many things. Unfortunately, the digital world is not very good at supporting, Southern African languages. For example, we can speak to our phones and they're able to respond in English, but if they're barely even able to understand our accents, never mind, our languages. And so we're looking, to bring these technologies in as a way to say, cool, well, you can own this technology belongs to us.
It can work for you.
Yeah.
And how do you include all 11 languages? How's this going to work?
So, to be fair, we have started with isiZulu, and part of the reason why we've started with isiZulu is because it's the most complicated language structurally to be able to teach to a machine so that it's able to understand. With isiZulu, of course, the other Nguni languages are quite similar. So once a machine is able to grasp one of the languages within the group, then it has the basics of understanding the others, and we can kind of fine-tune it to be able to understand the others. And then we move on to the other language groups that we have in the country and address those in a similar way.
What challenges has this project presented from an operations point of view?
Yeah, so one of the, a lot of artificial intelligence, or most of artificial intelligence, is really driven by the existence of existing text or voice for the languages in question. And so for English, this is really easy because, majority of the world, the internet, exists in English due to, colonialism, among other things. And so when we look at the African languages, they, haven't been captured. Often, we hear about texts that get destroyed in fires, and so we use that data in order to train these special tools. And when you've got so little data, we need to kind of be very clever about how we use it. And so, whereas the West might just make these, throw more and more data at the thing, make it smarter and smarter, we have to figure out, okay, how can we intelligently use the little data we have to make it as smart as possible?
And how's that going?
Going well. Thankfully, we've been able to build upon a large basis of research that's being done by some of the open communities in the space, as well as we have processes for data creation. So how can we work to create more data? So whether that's sponsoring storytellers, working with journalists, working with people to ensure that we're bringing up the usage of the language in the public sphere, and then together actually bring that into the app.
Yeah, and what's going to be my next question? Who have you roped in, to assist?
Well, when Jade's talking about the community doing the work, she's been quite humble.
Yeah.
Because actually what she has done, along with another one of our co-founders, has started this research movement on the continent to be able to enable different communities from different places, speaking different languages, to do research in this space. So understanding how we can create these very clever models that use less amount of text data to be able to understand language, and to develop the practice around sharing that kind of information. It's called Masakane. So this is one of the tools that we've really been able to utilize through partnership with this organization, which is really a grassroots amazing thing.
Yeah.
And so through community and through linking with communities across the continent, we're able to achieve such a thing.
And what lessons have come with working on this project? Because I imagine, it's one thing to conceptualize it and then to have it, put it out there as well.
Yeah.
It comes with its own lessons.
Yeah. So I think, of course, there are technical challenges and lessons, which we've already spoken about in terms of small amounts of data and making sure that we're able to train these machines in a way that we require them to. But it's also a challenge to socialize the idea of having technology come into people's lives in a way that assists them in doing what they want to do. I think there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of hesitation around bringing technology into people's lives, and that's another challenge that we're having to navigate around.
Is it going to be a similar situation when you get to the ATM, you choose, the languages? For automatically I just go to English, even though I speak fluent Setswana and fluent Zulu, but for whatever reason, automatically you just go to the ATM and select English. Are you finding that might just be a challenge for you?
We think in some spaces people are going to revert to English, but many other spaces, and I think in particular finance is one of them, where some people prefer to engage in English.
Or can't engage in
English. And sometimes they can't engage in English.
Yeah.
And so then they're quite limited. I think one of the big areas is in, looking at education. So they've shown, particularly in children, they perform much better if they learn mathematics in their home language. And this is research actually done in South Africa, and on with South African children. And so you've seen, in that space and in healthcare, where people actually can't speak English, or they can't speak it well enough to engage, how can we actually still connect people?
Yes.
And that's really our target.
All right, good luck, ladies. Thank you so much. Such a beautiful concept. We just spoke to CEO of Lelapa AI, Pelonomi Moiloa, as well as Jade Abbott, the COO. Their goal is to build an AI lab that does world-class research by and for Africans.